Welcome to episode 3 of Powered Forward TV, Big Fight Weekly, faster than a Lyoto Machida crane kick to the face, Chris.
Which one? Belfort or Randy Couture's?
They were both equally good, mate. I was probably gearing towards Couture, but he was aging as a fighter. But yeah, as I say, plenty to cover tonight, this afternoon in the US, as we're going to be recapping initially UFC 259, which was absolutely chocked to the rafters with fights, 3 title fights in total. We will hit the main event first. Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya. Got it right there, Chris. I pronounced it right. And what were your thoughts from that at light heavyweight? Is he stepping up, as we said last week?
Personally, I'm going to apologise to Jan Blachowicz for completely dismissing him last week. I thought, because obviously we spoke last Tuesday, we didn't see the weigh-ins till Friday afternoon. And I think my doubts were then when I saw Izzy step on the scale and see, like, he's not no muscle mass. You know what I mean? It was just like 200 pounds. You could see the difference between Jan Blachowicz and Izzy straight away when after they weighed in. That worried me from the get-go. It's just that his body didn't look built for 205 at that point.
That was the alarming thing, wasn't it? The weight. And I should say, because he's gangly, isn't he? He's got the height. He's very gangly going up that 25 pounds. But yeah, as I say, early on, Blachowicz was checking the kicks. There was some nice returns from the two of them. How did you find round one?
Chess game, wasn't it? I think it was quite who would move first. And then I think when we broke down the fight last week, I immediately saw that Izzy was going to go and attack Blachowicz. I even say it, they moved me up. I'll start calling me Jan. He was fighting on the outskirts of Jan Blachowicz. You know what I mean? Trying to, do what he did against Romero. I thought Jan was really good in the strikes straight away from the off and letting him know he was there and he's not going to be put away straight away.
I picked up on the patience from Jan in that first round. He took his time, didn't he? And Izzy was landing as well, to be fair.
He was.
Then we get into round 2. There was a double leg takedown. He got him down for just a little while, didn't he? But Adesanya managed to land some strikes as well. He did sting him. He did sting him with a punch as well. What did you take away? What did you take away from round 2?
Well, firstly, he took him down in round 4 and 5, Stewie boy.
No, but he tried to take him down early as well.
I think in round 2 you saw Izzy come in with a check left hook, was it a right hook that stung Blachowicz and pushed him right back. He tried to jump on him, but it was really, it was slow and it was quite lethargic, wasn't it, the fight? I think they were both trying to sort of work each other out, but panicking that one could up the other. It was, I thought it was quite steady at that point. I thought it was, going into round 3, I had it at 1 apiece. It was tight.
It was tight, to be fair. A lot of people, you see the pop-ups, the Twitter pop-ups, famous people, fighters. A lot of them had it level as well. You're getting into them middle rounds there. You're getting into round 3 and 4, and you can just see a bit of you could see it changing, couldn't you? Jan showing that he's good at the weight, that's his natural weight, and he took him. I think he just took him apart a lot more. What did you take away from them rounds? And he's got him down. More importantly, he got him down properly this time.
He did. It was the body shots. If you watch the fight, and he would come in with the single right and then hit him with a body shot, the leg kick, fantastic, and it pushed Alexander back constantly. Obviously, Izzy was coming back, and I think Izzy was, for his volume, was just a single, wasn't it, every time? But you could see Jan was growing into the fight. But also, what worried me in round 3 going into 4 was Jan Blachowicz was looking a bit tired. Did you notice that when you were watching it?
I did.
Breathing out the mouth was a lot.
He managed to stay in there though, didn't he?
He did.
But yeah, you could see it. There was a lot of strikes getting thrown, wasn't there? There was a lot of volume going on both sides. You can kind of understand it. And is he being lighter, not the natural light heavyweight? He's going to have a better gas tank up there, which hopefully that's going to serve him well if he is going to stay up there. You're of the opinion he will stay up now, won't he? Even though he's lost this fight.
I think eventually, I think for me, when I stayed up and watched it, I think now is probably go back down and defend your title at middleweight. And next time you do come up and do it properly, put some muscle mass on, get that, the body frame up to the right par of 205. Because if he fought someone else, say John Jones, for example, who he harboured for, John Jones would have completely wrestled him in that whole entire fight. If you're looking at how he came up in this fight against Blachowicz, go down, sort yourself out, come back up properly.
And we discussed, just to close out on this main event, we've both discussed it prior to going live. The scorecards seem right to us, but you've got an issue. You've got an issue, should I say, with the commentary, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, what they were saying about the fight, where we've got the judges' scorecards at 49-46, 49-45, 49-45 to Jan. He's blasted him there, hasn't he, on the scorecards? But they weren't the same thinking, were they, on commentary?
No, because if you were watching it and you are new to the sport, and the way they were selling Izzy in that fight is he was winning the fight, he was in complete control. Jan Blachowicz didn't know what to do, he was struggling, he was confused. But if you turn the volume down, watch that fight, it wasn't that at all. And I thought it was, and I love Joe Rogan, I love his podcast, like everyone does, and I love Daniel Cormier in everything he's ever done for MMA. And I still like his breakdowns with Hawani, but I found it very biased towards Izzy for that whole entire fight.
It was definitely it's got to be I'd say 4-1. I would say on the score for me, like across, as the fight went on. But as I say, Jan has retained. Huge victory for Jan going forward again. He's doing well. He's doing well, to be fair. And I think now's the time to move on to the ladies at featherweight. And we did preview this last week. We did say this was going to be one-sided. Amanda Nunes retaining against a heavy underdog in Megan Anderson. It was just an absolute... She dispatched her very quickly, didn't she? And the power in those hands. When you get rocked, she's an animal, Nunes. We know this anyway, but it's just crazy. And then chopped her with the leg kicks as well. Got the armbar submission. And it was all she wrote right there. And what were your thoughts on it, Chris?
Waste of time for Megan Anderson to ever step in the octagon against Amanda Nunes. And that's no disrespect to Megan Anderson, but she was out of her league. This was like saying, our local Colin Bay versus bloody Man City. It was just too easy for Amanda Nunes, just put it that bluntly. She come in, rocked her immediately with the right, then came, for the left, took her down, pounded her, she got back up, and then complete control. When we spoke about this last week, complete mismatch. For me, that division is just pointless. There's nothing there for Amanda Nunes.
What would entice Amanda Nunes? What are we going for? I think you said Shevchenko last week, didn't you? If memory serves, is that the only feasible fight?
But she's not going to go up to featherweight, is she? Bantamweight is where Shevchenko fought. Yeah, originally. Maybe. I've been reading recently, the last couple of days since prior to that. Past the fight, they're going Julia Pena versus Amanda Nunes.
It's only and there again, no disrespect to Julia Pena. It's going one way, man. It's going one way. And we've had a lot of comments. Sorry, Chris. We've had a lot of comments come in. I'm loving this. I love Joe Rogan. Just imagine the duo of Mauro Ranallo and Rogan in WWE or MMA. I'm not sure Joe Rogan would go over to WWE, and I think Mauro left. There's a lot of stuff, wasn't there, written in the press about Mauro in WWE. But yeah, it'd be a good tandem. But I just can't see. I love Mauro in Strikeforce. He's fantastic. Mauro's fantastic. He's good on Bellator really as well. I mean, if Rogan went to Bellator, not that I could see it, but good comment there though. But yeah, we'll get back to this Nunes, mate. It's pound for pound, man. But as you say, there's no ranking system.
It's pointless, isn't it? The division was made for Cyborg at that point. Nunes obviously came up. Did the unthinkable, really, if you look at it, how she dispatched Cyborg the way she did. And then after that, who have you got? Yeah, I mean, do you want to see Holly Holm fight for the umpteenth time against Amanda Nunes? Or, no. This needs cut off.
Mark wants a bit of crossover. He said, I'd love to see Nunes versus Charlotte, WrestleMania, women's main event. Many. Look what's happened with Ronda, though, Mark. Do you know what I mean? We've not seen her for how long? And,
Hold on, though. Is this a proper fight or is this a wrestling fight?
Well,
because Charlotte wouldn't have a career.
I'll let you be the judge of this. I'm liking these crossover questions tonight. No, thank you for the comments, Mark. Appreciate it. Absolutely do. So yeah, I think in closing, as we've said, recapping that one, mate, it did exactly what it said on the tin, mate, didn't it? Prior,
yeah, crushed.
It's just like the Vegas odds were just crazy. It was a landslide beforehand. It was a landslide on the night. So there we go. And our third title fight. Disqualification win. Peter Yan defend against Aljamain Sterling. Love Aljamain Sterling, one of my favourites. But an illegal knee to the head, and he's lost the title. You could see Aljamain Sterling was beside himself the way he's won that belt. Why has he done an illegal knee, Chris? It's not pride. You're not doing soccer kicks to the head and stuff of that nature in the UFC.
Certainly not. Well, if you watch the fight, he looks back to his coaches on the side of the octagon, and they're like, "Yeah, go for it." So he goes for it, and I'm like, I picture my head here, thinking like, Yan was in complete control of that fight, and I probably would say he wasn't far off from finishing Aljo in that fight, but for that to happen, and for that thought process to go through your head when he's down, and everyone knows the rules.
Yeah.
And to fire him with the knee, no, stupidity, and I think it was very rash.
It was.
He was in complete control of the fight beforehand.
It was quite good early on. Like Sterling was having a go. There were strikes coming in. It was entertaining fight. I thought, but yeah, it's just. What was he thinking doing that? That's just crazy. And you could just see it in Sterling doesn't want to win the belt that way. He was upset. You could tell.
I thought there was a lot of very good acting going on there on the floor. But I'll tell you something. Watching the fight, I thought Sterling started off okay. He took Yan down, and Petr Yan, after that, took complete control. But what I didn't get was Aljo's fight. His plan in that whole fight was like a frantic child at Christmas opening up his presents. It was. And I was like, what are you doing? And it was constant. It was just constant pressure for no reason, spinning and all that. No.
What I took away, we were saying about the fatigue in the main event.
Yeah.
Sterling looked fatigued in the third to me, mate. He looked knackered, like he'd done too much. And then Peter Yan obviously sensed that he took control. And then we've got a disqualification off the back of it, but I'm sure they'll have to do the rematch, Chris. They got to.
But did you? Peter Yan dropped him, didn't he, twice as well in the second and the third.
He was in control, as you said. He
was complete control, and I think he showed that he was a lot better fighter than Sterling. I mean, look how many times he took Sterling down, and Sterling's supposed to be the better wrestler. I just didn't get Sterling's fight plan. I didn't get the whole frantic and chaos of running around the octagon chasing him, but he kept on spinning his back to Yan constantly, and I couldn't get my head around it.
Begging to grab hold of him from behind,
and he did, and he got dropped, and he got put down loads of times.
Yeah.
What annoys me about this whole illegal knee thing? Yeah, okay, I'll say it was an illegal knee, and obviously, and it was bad, but I think after that didn't make any sense. So he's crying in the octagon, and he throws the belt. But he's throwing the belt on the floor as he's leaving, right? Okay. I
was sympathetic to this, but now you're saying this. It was all like pantomime, theatre stuff going on in the ring.
But he was on his arse, getting up on his arse when the doctor came in. But as soon as the doctor come in, he falls back down, and I'm like, I was speaking to Sam Walker at the time when we were watching it because we were messaging each other on Facebook, and I'm like, we just didn't understand. But then I read more about it afterwards, and he's there posing with the title. No.
So What's it to be upset about it or overjoyed? Because he's done two different things here.
You can be overjoyed because at the end of the day, you didn't deserve to win the title, but you have won the title.
They know. These fighters know surely now what they can and can't do, man. That's a rush of blood to the head. That
yes.
Peter Yan has not thought that through. And I know as they've had legislation with MMA and all that and getting it cleared in all the states over the years, and there's rules, man. It's not the Wild West, is it? You know, even down to doctors coming in the cage and things like that. You know, when things happen, that's why the rules are in place. You could seriously hurt someone. You know, you're in there to hurt someone, but not with a knee like Karras' car's going off. Brilliant.
So Aljamain Sterling's calling for you now.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Carry on, Chris.
No, a lot.
Carry on. It's all right.
Yeah, everything's annoyed me about that, and he's facing up to Henry Cejudo backstage, calling for that fight next. No,
why?
Because he's a weirdo. He's taken the opportunity to take that knee. Well, he took the knee. Obviously, he couldn't help that. But everything after that, everyone felt sorry for him. And then you see him celebrating, getting drunk, and having a title around his waist.
I think just because we've got comments coming in, Chris. Sorry to cut you off there. Rambo 77619. I like that. Paying homage to Rey Mysterio. I'm what you would call a casual MMA fan, so I don't know enough. I wouldn't say that, mate. You know, be confident in what you know about the sport and stuff like that. But another crossover question, lads. Who, in your opinion, is the best wrestler MMA guy? Jack Swagger, Bobby Lashley, or Dave Bautista? Dave Bautista was at a local level doing it, so we throw him out. You know, no disrespect to Dave Bautista, he got in there, but it was like a regional promotion. There wasn't much to that. Bobby Lashley amassed a decent record, I would say, to be fair. But, you know, he was doing the two, which isn't great. Saying that, similarly, Jack Swagger, Jake Hager, now in Bellator, he's amassing a decent record as well. So I couldn't, off the back of that, because Swagger's not had as many fights as Lashley, it'd be hard to say out of them.
Easy. Jack Hager's much better than Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Chris has got his point about that one. Cheers for that one, Rambo. So, yes, perfectly, we can segue now into Dominic Cruz returning on Saturday night, Sunday morning to face Casey Kenny. Real enjoyable bout, this one. You know, they're both striking, they're both going for it. Cruz's movement, like I know they were picking up on it on commentary. It's just incredible how he does it, Chris, even now. And, you know, many people probably scout it beforehand, but his movement was incredible, I thought. The judges, it was a split, but I've got to say it was tight, but I think Cruz did enough for me. I don't know, how did you find it?
Did you know that Cruz's style and his footwork is self-taught? That they did say designed that himself.
Good bringing that one up. Yeah, it's crazy, but you know it works for him, Chris. He's had numerous fights. Yeah. How did you find it?
I think it was a good level to see where Cruz can come back from after the Henry Cejudo loss. I thought he was solid. He looked like he was hungry and he wanted it, but so did Kenny. And it made a really interesting bout. I thought, Kenny pushed the pace and didn't let Cruz just walk around him, dance around him, and he pot shot him, move away. He chased Cruz all the way through the octagon.
He was game.
He wanted it, and it was really good.
It was good. I hate to use the word back and forth all the time, but it was a back and forth. But I had Cruz winning it. It was a split. I think the 30-27 was wide on the judges' scorecards. We've spoken about this. I think they had, and then obviously the other judge had it at 29-28 for Kenny. The other judge had Cruz 29-28. Cruz was 30-27 on that other card, which is too wide. That was. I don't know what fight he was watching, Chris.
Who knows? I was definitely impressed with Cruz. Scott Steiner.
Yeah, but Brett, I'm sure I heard "Holler if you hear me" when that car alarm was going off.
Jesus.
Sorry, Chris, carry on.
No. I was impressed by the pair of them. They both, Kenny might took the loss, but I think it was much better for him because he didn't, he went for the fight. I think for Cruz now, and then having a good analyse of the fight, and I've watched it again today, is I don't see him as a championship material fighter anymore. I think those days are gone. But there's two interesting fights. I did say one last week. And then I thought when I was looking for the rankings today, how would you think? Obviously, we said Edgar and Cruz, which is one of my fantasy fights I'd love. How about a Cruz versus Aldo?
Why not? He was ranked 11th, wasn't he, before? So wherever they place him now, yeah, that'd be that's got money written all over it. That's a big fight. That could headline a fight night, couldn't it?
Yeah.
At the very least, or midway in the main card on a numbered event on one of the big pay-per-views. Absolutely. Why not? Why not make that fight? Aldo be game for it. Cruz looked good. So yeah, I fully agree there. We had a comment from Brett as well just then. It's gone. He was saying about I feel his pain. You'll feel his pain as well. He can't stay up for the shows in the UK anymore. We're shattered staying up. Brett, we're with you on that. It's so hard, especially it's the same with the wrestling. We've done it for years with WWE and everything. Staying up, man. I can't do it. We're not mid-30s now.
I don't know. You say that though. I did it on the weekend.
You've done the last couple of weeks actually. I've been very impressed with you staying up for it.
Not been at work though, have I?
No.
I used to do that religiously with UFC. In every single card there was, no matter if it was a work day, the next day, to every weekend. I did it every weekend. And, this last one killed me. And it was at like 10 to 6 when I went to bed.
And I was like... Do you have a few beers?
I stopped about... I stopped just at the Cruz fight because I thought I might be a bit too sus to carry on watching the event. But I'm not doing that again.
We've got a bit of time here as well. We've got like an overflow because it was such a it was incredible, that card. But we could have covered all the fights. We just haven't got the time. But we've got Makhachev versus Drew Dober as well to cover. Well, I know you were looking forward to that fight. So we've got time. Break down Makhachev Dober for us, Chris. Your thoughts and feelings, and I'll chime in a bit.
I think for a breakdown, it's quite a short, sweet, isn't it? Drew Dober is a very good fighter, and he went in his game, but Makhachev could be 2.1, isn't he? Or 2.0. Too good. And it worries me for that division.
And when you've got Khabib in the corner, trains with him day in, day out. That wrestling, the Sambo, as you always say about this style, it was just crazy. Drew Dober's stocky. He's a big lad at that weight. He took him down. Drew Dober's no slouch. He's won 23. I know it's 10 losses now, but to do that and just dispatch him like he did on the ground, man, which they're just incredible what they can do on the ground. It's next level, isn't it?
It's Dagestan, isn't it? They've got a well-oiled machine.
Wrestling bears at the age of 7, 8, and 9. Do you know what I mean? It just puts you ahead. But it was good. It was good. Good showing for him. Where do you see Makhachev now in terms of lightweight positioning? Where he can go in terms of the rankings? What would be a feasible fight for him? Because there's been talk. I think who were you saying earlier?
He called up Tony Ferguson in his post-fight conference, didn't he?
You think that's too soon, don't you? He needs
I don't think Tony's going to take that. Considering Tony's still in it. Tony's still in the top. Your top 6, isn't he? He's not going to take that fight. I think for him, around him, you've got Bernard Derouche, who's had a hell of a good last couple of fights. He sits around below him. Or above him, you've got Paul Felder, which would be a good fight. Kevin Lee, another good fight.
Kevin Lee would be a tasty one, as would Paul Felder. But they're going to, he's going to take you down. That's the problem. It's crazy. Just crazy how good
he's really good. But it'd be interesting to see what happens after he gets the bigger names. And can he handle the pressure like Khabib could? Because Khabib didn't feel pressure.
One of the boss men at Powered 4 on the Facebook Live page here. There you go. Nunes is amazing. I mean to watch a fighter go in and then come out and celebrate with the baby. My hats off. Yeah, superb. And, Megan Anderson came over as well, didn't she?
Yeah.
It was all nice at the end, even though she dispatched her. Mania one off for Nunes next year. It would make money with Charlotte. better her than Tyson Fury in Mania. Mark, it's your opinion at the end of the day, but Tyson's got the gift of gab, hasn't he? Nunes can get in there and do all the stuff, but it's that having the voice and having that personality, I think. But I think this is the perfect time now for us to go to break. This is a showcase of TNT Extreme Wrestling on Powered 4 TV. Go and check it out.
Jockeying for position. Neither man wants to give an inch, but something's got to give at some point.
Up and over goes Pac.
A fantastic video package there of TNT Extreme Wrestling out of Liverpool on demand. I know Jay and the team are chomping at the bit to get shows up and running as well. Catch them on demand. Go and catch a show as well. I implore you. Look at the guys on show there. Absolutely fantastic there. All the best to Jay and the team into 2021 and beyond. Right. A preview. We're going UK. Our man Leon Edwards at welterweight taking on Bilal Muhammad. What are your views on this one this coming weekend, Chris?
It's hard, isn't it? Because we haven't seen Leon Edwards since July 2019 when he beat Rafael dos Anjos. And Bahal won a couple of weeks ago and looked against Diego Lama, Diego Lama's brother. Diego Lama's champion in Bellator. He looked very impressive and he looked really good. So this could be an interesting fight because obviously we don't know what kind of Edwards we're going to get because it's been so long. But I'd hope he's been away and he's ironed his skills, to a point where he knows what Bahal's going to do. I've watched Bahal's fights today just to sort of give myself a bit of a, refresher because I only saw Bahal's first fight properly the other week. And I think he's, when it comes to the fight, he's going to try and push the pace. Put Edwards on the back foot, try and overwhelm him with strikes. But what I have noticed with Leon Edwards in his last couple of fights is he's learning to deal with the pressure fighters now and not back off and try and counter, but meet them halfway in the middle of the cage, and take them that way. Interesting because obviously, again, we don't know what Leon Edwards we're going to get.
It's been a long time, man. You got Masvidal, you had all that going on. That'd be a fight further down the track, definitely, that they should make. But this is a tough test, man, as well. As you say, this ain't going to be easy, and it will be interesting to see. What would they be looking to do off the back of this? The winner, where would they be going then in terms of welterweight? What would be the next progression in fight terms for both guys? Obviously we want Edwards to win, being UK, but what would Bilal Muhammad be looking at as well? Who would be the next feasible opponent with a win?
Welterweight, I haven't really looked at the rankings, so for your question, I'm probably going to be a bit dire here because I didn't really look into that question.
It's all right. You'll have an idea.
But obviously he's going to have to go up, isn't he? So welterweight, it's hard because I don't know really where it is in the ranking to picture where he would go. But obviously if he beats Edwards, he's going to need a top 10 opponent, isn't he? Because Leon Edwards is top 3. For Leon Edwards, and I must be adamant when I say this, and I'll put my pen out here. He needs a bloody title shot. He needs the title shot. If he wins this, I know it's only Bahal, but how many times do we have to see Masvidal versus Usman? And I was thinking today, and I was looking at Masvidal versus Usman, with Edwards in mind. Who's Masvidal beaten in the top 5 to earn that title shot?
That's the age old question, isn't it? I'll tell you what it is. It's the personality. The guy can fight. He's the whole package. But as you say, he's lost fights. And to give him, it's almost it would seem to me it's like spoon fed another chance at Usman. Where you look at your Edwards is in that division. Yeah, it's money. Maybe it's a money thing, Chris.
Possibly,
because they know on pay-per-view that Masvidal and Usman's going to draw again. It's a business as well, isn't it? But that doesn't mean to say that fight has to be made, because you've got guys chomping at the bit in that division. It's a Shark Tank that division, along with some of the others. You look at it top to bottom. It's crazy, the guys in there. But looking forward to that one. And
before you jump though, I've got a quick gimme here, which I don't know if you knew, but obviously when Leon Edwards was matched up with Hamzat Chimaev, what I didn't realise, and I found this out today, he said no originally, and they took Leon Edwards out the top 3 ranking, only to put him back in when he said yes. So what sort of deal is that for someone who hasn't fought for 2 years? I thought that'd be an interesting point to put out.
That's a good. That's perfect. That's perfect.
What sort of play is that from UFC to a fighter?
It's mad. It's mad. It's crazy. It'll be interesting. That's this Saturday night, leading into Sunday over here for the UK, early hours, as we've spoken about before.
Usual.
Yeah, but that'll be a tasty one. We can't cover it all today because we're strict on time. We've got a lot to cover. We've got to do our boxing. And I think it'd be perfect now to segue into the story that's broke this week about Dan Hardy being released by the UFC and BT Sports, relieved of his duties. Bit of an odd one. A story broke through Dave Meltzer, who's a wrestling writer predominantly. I know he's covered MMA. And Dan Hardy called him out as well. He's not really said a great deal, Dan Hardy, about it. It was to do with a woman at Fight Island, wasn't it? A worker at Fight Island. Something's gone on. We don't know the ins and outs as yet. What do you take away from it, Chris, so far with what's broken?
I'm really sad after all the DC Rogan bias. Dan Hardy is one of the best analysts of any type of MMA fight, and a really good commentator and a good breakdown of a fight during a fight. I'm really sad to see someone of his caliber be let go. Obviously, we can't really comment too much because we don't know his side of the story. We don't really know the story. We can only listen to this Dave Meltzer. You say he was a wrestling reporter who is
not my favourite person in the world in terms of wrestling journalism. I find it's rumour. I've been shot down by people. I'm a Bill Apter guy. It might have been kayfabe in the 80s and 90s, the way he reported, but it was perfect. He's playing a persona as well, doing it. But Meltzer, you pulled up a thing today about him judging a fight. It was Mark Coleman years ago. He only judged the one fight, apparently.
And he messed it up that bad that he was never judged again.
So, I mean, I always I always have to weigh up what Meltzer says in wrestling terms. So as you say, you've got to have both sides of the story. And Dan Hardy said a little bit, but he hasn't gone into too much. He's probably been told by a solicitor, isn't he? Don't say too much at the moment.
What I'll say is this: it's going to hurt UFC
massively. We've spoken about him. We've spoken about him in the last couple of weeks. Chris, sorry.
Yeah, it's going to hurt BT Sports more.
Oh my days!
A lot more. He runs that show.
He does. As good as Adam Catterall is. Adam Catterall obviously covered 5 Live Talk Sport doing boxing. Adam Catterall's good at hosting, presenting, but it's that fight. He just gets it because he's fought. I know all these analysts are fighters, they've been in there, but it's just the way he articulates himself, the way he can break it down. He simplifies things. For people who aren't maybe staunch MMA fans, it makes it easy to digest what he's saying. And as you say, it's a big loss. I just hope something can be sorted out. And then, as you were saying to me off camera, it was only last week before, they were saying about him getting back in the cage. Maybe.
Well, he's apparently still contracted as a UFC fighter, but obviously he's retired, unquote, not retired, considering what we spoke about last week, which maybe with all that maybe makes sense with what's happened this week. So obviously he was fired, obviously when all that conversation with Matt Brown was happening. He has said that he's going to release his own statement shortly. That could obviously be any point. I'd be interested to know what he says, but it's really bad. People like him and the quality he has, he should be looked after.
There's more to this than it's being reported. Like, I'm not having it for a second. No, something's happened, but it happened. It was at Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. That was weeks and weeks ago, and it's only coming out now. When you're trying to look at it with a bit of integrity, look at what's been reported. But I think he will come out. He will come out with a statement a bit more length, explaining from his end, because this is the problem. This is the problem with the media. You get a lot of spin, and it's abysmal, man. And it's such a shame, as you say. It's a real shame what's happened.
It's a massive loss for UFC. And massive loss for BT Sports, because he's British and he's on a British TV show. Who are you going to find to replace him? Because Michael Bisping isn't going to drop over from America to go do BT Sports.
He's settled there, isn't he? He's been settled for many years. So, just we'll see how that one unfolds. Maybe we can cover it next week. Hopefully will have a statement out by that time. And I think it's a perfect way now to segue out of the MMA. We're going to get into the boxing. It's not been too heavy on fights and stuff, so we're going to cover a bit of news. And some latest news is Jonathan Boatsi, who's at light heavyweight, a great prospect in Britain. He was an Olympian. He's been with AJ. He's trained with AJ for many years. Great at light heavyweight, great. But he is changing trainers, and he's going over to Virgil Hunter in California, who trained the great Andre Ward. Amir Khan was trained by Virgil Hunter for a time too. So I'm absolutely made up for him. He's obviously feeling he needs to go to America to get the best training if he's looking to get world title recognition. I see this as a great thing for Boatsi. Undefeated. He's big. He's tall at light heavy. He's 6'3". So whether further down the line they'll look for him to go in at cruiser, that'd be interesting. So what are you thinking on that one, Chris?
He's training with Andre Ward, isn't he? Andre Ward is one of the best fighters, best boxing fighters going. In his heyday. So all he's got that knowledge is constant from all the best. I didn't realize when you put this to me today, I didn't realize he TKO'd eight of his last opponents.
Yeah.
No easy feat, that really. Not every opponent's the same.
He's on a tear. He's on undercards a lot. I think he has headlined a few as well with Eddie Hearn. Obviously, he'll stay under the Matchroom umbrella. That won't change. But he's obviously feeling the need. He's got to go to California. They all do it. Fury in the last camp, he was over there. Went to Sugar Hill, didn't he? They seem to go over there. You see it in the MMA as well, don't you? Some of our guys. It's just that there's something there that they feel the need that they have to go to America. So good news on that one. I just wanted to cover that one a little bit. And then into my next bit of news in the boxing. It's dropped today, and it is Josh Taylor, who would love to fight his hero, Manny Pacquiao. But the thing is, Josh Taylor is at light welterweight at the moment. Pacquiao's at 147 pounds at welter. Obviously, idolised Pacquiao. but Josh Taylor's got a unification fight against Jose Carlos Ramirez in Las Vegas in May 1st to get through, which would unify all the titles at light heavy. He beat Regis Prograis in the World Series of Boxing as well. Great fight. That was back and forth. It was a close one. Great fight. Josh Taylor, Olympian as well, boxed at amateur level. So he's obviously setting his sights on Pacquiao if he can get through Carlos Ramirez. But that's going to mean stepping up. I think it's about a £7 differential to go up from light welter to welter.
Not too bad, £7, is it?
They all still want to fight Pacquiao. And I'm telling you, he's in his 40s, but Keith Thurman couldn't dispatch him. These guys, they know it's the money fight. It'd be an entertaining fight. Whether Pacquiao would want to take it, I don't know. But I'm sure if they could reach terms, it's a huge one. It's a huge one for Josh Taylor going forward. Yeah, absolutely. Josh Taylor's not daft. But as I say, he's got to get through Jose Ramirez in May before this one could be set up. And I'm looking forward to that one. Absolutely. So, yeah, we've been covering the boxing quickly this week. We're hoping, obviously, there's going to be more events coming up. The calendar's getting full towards the back end of the month into April, May. So, yeah, just a bit lighter. And I think it's feature time. We always have our weekly feature, special feature on boxing legend, the Welsh wonder. Mike Angus calls me the Welsh wonder. I can't be put on a pedestal like Joe Calzaghe.
I'm not sure about that, Stuart.
What Joe Calzaghe did for boxing, man, unbelievable. And we've been watching fights back, haven't we? Just there you go.
Today. Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. Do you know what I mean? He went into the backyard. He went over to America. He fought Bernard Hopkins. He got put down by Bernard Hopkins. That was a split decision, but. He went up to light heavy as well. He dominated at super middleweight. You've got people like Carl Froch turning around saying like he dodged him. What did Joe Calzaghe have to prove? He would have beaten Froch. I have no doubt in that. And Froch had a great career. I'm not disputing that. But when you go through who Calzaghe fought, there was a lot of domestic tear-ups. He went into Germany. He fought in Germany as well. He went to the backyard there of people. He went to Denmark in 2001 as well for fights. So I just think he was incredible, and what he did for Welsh sport, not just Welsh sport, UK sport, and eclipsed the business. Went into the Hall of Fame in 2014 too. There he is with his dad Enzo, and that dynamic, the father-son dynamic, your dad training him, that was just incredible to see, wasn't it, Chris?
That's a good thing, isn't it, to have your father on your side and pushing him all the way. Watching it today, I think I did a couple, didn't I, just before we come on, just to give myself a refresh. And I loved his toyness of Ray Jones Jr., who was obviously in his heyday was like that, wasn't he? Toyed with people, showboated, and getting in his face and then boxing him, I thought I loved it. I love people like that.
He was a heavy underdog going over there for both of them fights, And it was a split with Bernard Hopkins, but he knew he had it plot. You could tell he plotted his course. He boxed He boxed professionally from '93 to 2008, and that was him done. And there was talk of him coming out retirement, but he stuck to his guns, which I can applaud that, because he could have come out and fought Froch. He could have stayed at super middle. The fight with Mikkel Kessler at the Principality at the Millennium Stadium, it was
one I watched.
Jam Platts, the ref was great back and forth fight, but he could adapt. Calzaghe could adapt. He was knocking people out left and right earlier in his career, but then he was boxing a lot of rounds, and you got to see him as a complete fighter. And I think he did so well, and we idolised him, especially in Wales. It was just you had the sports personality of the year, and you'd have Ryan Giggs in the mix, and all the sport people over here going for it. But he'd win it, and it was just incredible. 46-0, and I know a lot of the Americans think a lot of Joe Calzaghe as well. A lot of nice stuff was said about Calzaghe through his career.
He watching his speed and the constant pressure, and doing that for 12 rounds is incredible. You tell me what any MMA fighter that could do that in 12 rounds and still keep that up, that pace. It's jaw dropping, because it was just insane. I was watching today, and I was watching him against Kessler, and then against Ray Jones Jr. and the constant pressure. But he's doing that for 12 rounds. He's not doing it for
It's when you picked up on it, and I can remember it. It's when Roy Jones Jr.'s got the guard and
he's sticking his head in.
Calzagi's going in his head, putting a shot away, coming out. It's like any other fighter would be panicking that there's a shot coming from the guard. He was right in, and he kept doing it, and he was moving about, and his movement was brilliant. I think like what he could do, and he could adapt. I was listening to Nigel Benn was on Sky Sports Ringside when they used to do that years ago. And he said I couldn't have beaten him because I asked him, could you beat Calzaghe? But he said he turned up for the big fights more so. He'd fight lesser names. You're thinking, oh, that wasn't the best performance, but he said he could turn it on. He could turn it on against the best. And Chris Eubank in '97. He's probably an underdog in that one. I know Eubank had a lot of fights. He'd had quite a solid run from, the late 80s to the 90s. But he had to beat him. It's like Robin Reed as well. Robin Reed was a good fighter. I can go right back into his career.
Jeff Lacey fight was really good as well. When all the titles.
He was an underdog. He was an underdog for that. I just want to pull at Mark Lloyd's comment, actually. She might be able to talk. She might be able to talk coming over to WWE. You never know. But speaking of boxing, Ricky Hatton was bloody awful when he showed up on Raw. That line against Big Show. Why you got to be like? He did do it. He did do a bit of crossover, didn't he, Ricky Hatton?
Yeah. Is it as bad as Wayne Rooney's slap?
Oh, it's just like when they used to place him in the crowd. It's crazy. Hatton is boxing's version of Dean Malenko in terms of charisma. I'll tell you what, though, Hatton could fight, and he got to the top level in that division. He fought Pacquiao. I know he got blasted. He fought how many rounds with Mayweather? I think Hatton deserves a lot of praise for what he did for British boxing too. I know his personal life. There was stuff in his personal life, but
you can cross over with Joe Calzaghe because wasn't Ricky Hatton and Floyd Mayweather having to bat, and wasn't it Hopkins and Calzaghe are there to bat on the same stage? Do you remember that?
I think, it would have been around the same time.
They had a little cross, they had a crossover then.
It would have been like 2000, 2008, 2007 time, like definitely. But
I'll say this, yeah. Nunes beats all WWE ladies wrestlers like that.
she's
put that out there.
She's already had Ronda in the octagon.
She ate Ronda.
Yeah. So that's it, man. But thank you everyone for the comments tonight. It's been good. It's been good pulling up the comments. That's what we need.
More of it.
It's not just about me and Chris. We want to hear what you've got to say. And it was cool covering Calzaghe. I really enjoyed that, Chris. Where can the viewers and listeners find you, Chris, in terms of the socials before we go?
They can find me on Instagram at VanHume86. They can find me on Twitter at VanHume. And you'll find me on our page on Powered Forward Weekly, Big Fight Weekly. Yeah,
Powered Forward TV, Big Fight Weekly. We've got a page on there. We have sent it out. We've shared it. If you see it, like it, share it as well. Share. That's what it's all about. We will be covering more boxing. We've been very top heavy with UFC and MMA. We're not just going to cover UFC, but obviously we're waiting on Bellator, aren't we, Chris, and things of that nature. But this was episode 3 of Powered Forward TV, Big Fight Weekly. We will see you same time, same place, 6 p.m. next Tuesday. Cheers, Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Millie McKenzie! She is at least 5 sandwiches short of a picnic.